I could have quit. I could have. There were many moments that I considered closing down, and then uh, I got to connect with a deeper motivation that I had have had in the previous phase of my life, and then actually, this co-living can be a great platform or means to realize that mission. And then it kind of reignited my motivation, and then renewed my passion. And then so then um, I try to be authentic to myself, but then uh, at some point I feel like I feel like a loser. But it felt very unfair, and kind of like and somehow I felt clock is ticking, and then maybe later I wouldn't have a chance again. If I want to prove, I think it should be now. I have to maybe try to join a bigger team or a different culture, because I also felt like, I'm not my. So actually, my co-living was, for the first 3 years, it was just my side project.
Hello, Yeji. Welcome to the podcast. Thank you so much for being here today. So glad to see you. We met in Chiang Mai in the beginning of the year, and I'm so glad that
Yes.
you agreed to join the show. So,
Mm-hmm.
first of all, can you introduce yourself? Where you're from? Where are you based now? And what do you do?
Yes. Thank you, Juan, for having me. It's such a pleasure to connect again. And I feel really happy and full of joy to seeing you and hearing from you. And I'm really excited to talk with you. And my name is Yeji. I'm based in Korea. I run intentional co-living space called Seoul Nooks. And I've been running this community for about 6 years. In September, we are having 6-year anniversary, which feels very special to me. And then I am also part-time nomad, I could say. So I travel around maybe 4 months ish a year, and now currently I'm in Europe right now.
Yeah, thank you. So, yeah, you have an interesting, I'm sure you're going to have a lot of more interesting story to share. What drawn me to connect to you is that because you have been running intentional co-living. Am I getting it correctly?
Yes.
Yeah. Can you share on
Hmm.
how, like, what bring you to start intentional co-living? What's the story behind this business?
Right. Yeah. So actually, how I started and how, like, what made me continue this journey is a little bit different. I think I had different
Mm.
motivation in the beginning, and but then like it somehow evolved, and then I could have quit. I could have. There were many moments that I considered closing down, and then I got to connect with a deeper motivation that I had have had in the previous phase of my life. And then, actually, this co-living can be a great platform or means to realize that mission. And then it kind of reignited my motivation, and then renewed my passion. And yeah, so it became intentional co-living over the time. Uh, Beginning was a little bit more humble. Okay, maybe let me start explaining about what I mean by intentional. Just simply explaining, co-living is like a shared house, shared flat, and shared houses. But the difference for me, how I understand this, community at the center of shared living, arrangement, agreement, and motivation. Shared flat that often students and young professionals do is kind of like we we share flat because we had to. The fee to save the fee, and then saving cost was the number one and the most important factor of choosing sharing a flat with somebody else. And then you didn't really care about who else you're going to be sharing a flat with. And people are dying to end this period because you're just doing it because you had to. And then often sharing flat, you don't really actually meet other people. You actually, you try hard to not to bump into each other. But the co-living space is well, there's also difference in different spectrum of co-living, but co-living space is more of the opposite. So, community is the reason why we choose to live with other people. And so there's a community, there's infrastructure for that and social structure for that. Or what I mean by intentional is that we have mission, a specific mission that our co-living space is working for, and we try to meet that mission, and we try to implement the needed measures into our community operations. And also we curate people. We don't welcome anybody. Although in our heart, we welcome, but we don't welcome anybody into our space. We choose people who are aligned with our values and who will work together for the values of the community. And we make decisions based on those values as well.
So first, let me recap if I get it correctly, and please correct me anytime, because the concept that you share, like some of the concept is not as common in Thailand. For example, sharing flat in Thailand is not something that is like in Thailand. We usually
Mm,
have our own space. We prefer to live in a smaller unit rather than
mm-hmm,
sharing space with other people, at
mm-hmm,
least mostly for people in Bangkok anyway, that we don't really share flat. The
mm-hmm.
part that you mentioned that I can see is like when it's come to young professional or student, they are more open into sharing area with another person to reduce cost. And what you say is that the concept of co-living is more than that. It's more about building community. And the one thing that I also know that when I used to share space with someone, I also try not to run into them. So that resonated with me a
Yes,
lot. But what you
yes,
say is like by building community, it changed how we relate to each other, right? It's not just sharing the space, but it's also about coming together and grow together. And what you share
yes,
in the beginning that I also want to learn more about is you share that when you start this intentional co-living concept, it come from different motivation. And what is that
yes.
motivation?
Right. Yeah. So when I started, I actually have different diverse many elements, many reasons that motivate me to start because I often get scared. Some people mistake me as very adventurous person, but actually I overthink. I fear many things, but in the end but then maybe difference is that I do end up doing something, but the strategy that I've kind of built over my life is that adding more reasons, like why I should do, and then what I should do. When I started, actually before starting, I already was in community field for a long time. Pretty much my career field was around community, and especially in co-working industry. I was very passionate geek of co-working space. I was part of I co-founded one of the first co-working space in Korea. And then I fell in love with co-working. I think I went to, more than 200 co-working spaces over the world, including some in Thailand, made awesome friends, with people who are in the co-working field. Uh, so I wanted to for me, um, I wanted to continue co-working, but then also running it as a separate business. And while I operated community-centric, community-oriented, I thought it was very difficult when increasingly people perceive co-working as more like fancy flexible space like WeWork. And then so I thought like having co-working space inside the house, like I pay a little bit of extra, I do a little bit extra work. Anyway, I need a space to live. So that's one of the thought that I had. Then I can also be more inclusive. I can be more be more welcoming for many diverse people. And second was that I've been hosting a couch surfers. I had been active member of couch surfing. Seems like you know and you experienced couch surfing as well. Couch surfing is like I think it existed even before Airbnb, and then it was more of the community initiative. People host people, other travelers for free, and then you also travel and stay with locals wherever you travel with, but for like no fee involved, no transaction, financial transaction involved, and like was really about cultural exchange. And I got a lot of help from couchsurfing, so I tried to give back as much as possible whenever I was able to host anybody. Also, it was like through couchsurfing, I met really great like-minded travelers, and I got to have better understanding of who I want to be with, who I want to surround myself with, and I realized that I resonate with a certain type of people, travelers who are open-minded and curious, who brings really good questions, and then who try to empathize uh, the place and the people they're visiting. Is such a big word, and how can I say big one concept, and then how people travel could vary so much.
Yeah.
Like these people, yes, these people were type of people that I want to spend more time with. And then somebody is also type of people that I want to be. And that's how I grow myself, like, cause I get influenced by environment a lot. And, but then hosting couch surfers on my own was becoming a little more challenging, like hosting travelers for just 3 days frequently was not sustainable when I was becoming more like ambitious in my career. I'm Korean. When you as we are known for overtime, too much workaholic like culture. So I thought like it would be better to have travelers who can stay long term, like 1 month, so that I have more time to get to know them and then interact with them, not in rush. And while I also pursue my career goals as well. And then also like when I was hosting on my own, I thought it was not really fair. They ask a lot of questions about Korea, but I'm just, just one angle, perspective towards Korean culture. So I thought it'd be nice to have a few other people who could give different opinions to the question. So I started searching I started thinking about, okay, like how about create a community and then having co-hosts, separate co-hosts to, and hosting just one, nomad friend, and then maybe using shared the living room to host couch surfers. That was this beginning, and that's how we started. Although I wanted to find a partner, I didn't know whether I could actually get married. So it's like, like Korea is known for, low birth rate and people are not getting married. They say in the media, but somehow around me, everybody gets married and everybody has babies. I don't know why, but so I had a bit of feeling that, oh, everybody is gonna leave me alone. Okay, I need to make a family. I need to make my own family. So, and well, before living together, I started with like building neighborhood connections and making neighborhood friends first. But then in a busy city like Seoul, where not only me but a lot of people are busy and very try to we work not only work hard, but we spend a lot of time, I think, in growing ourselves, self growth as well. I also used to go to a lot of classes and talks and trainings, and then also a lot of socials, networking, and then so it's like I thought, oh, living in the same neighborhood is not enough. But like I need to have people in the same house. Like all those kind of streams of thoughts kind of came into one. So we started we started um, trying community living. The one that I was doing before Seoul Nooks was smaller version. We had 3 rooms and me and another couple, Korean couple who were well traveled. They traveled around the world for a year, and then we had a 1 room for the nomad, and we sometimes had a couch surfers in the living room. And then we had a neighborhood friends from neighborhood who knew passcode and just opened the door whenever they want to, and then they court in our living room and then eat together. That's how we started. But then our Korean traveler, like co-host friends, they felt really tired. They didn't feel at home because traveling around and bringing the word into the home is very different topic. And so they wanted to stop. I didn't want to stop. So then I moved out and finding a bigger house in a different neighborhood. And then that's how we started.
Yeah, yeah. So it starts from, the love that you have by starting to co-found different co-living space, like one of the first co-living space in Korea before, and then you want to build your own community, start from couch surfing and wanting to make it into a more longer term business. So that's the beginning. That's what I'm hearing. Am I getting you correctly?
Yeah. So I co-founded one of the first co-working space, like
Co-working,
2012.
not co-living.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah. And what do you love about building community?
What do I love building community? I love being in community. I love growing with community. I need community for to grow the version of myself that I want to be. I started building community because there was no community that was aligned with my direction. Before
Mm,
deciding to open the current co-living space, I did search like for existing options, and I considered maybe I should join one of the existing choices. And but nothing really resonated with me perfectly, 100%. I didn't feel like, oh, maybe I don't think I could feel safe to be myself, or I don't think I can be vulnerable, or I don't think that I kind of fit there perfectly, or I wanted the house to be more open, but a lot of also houses are exclusive. We're exclusive as well. We are not open for everybody, but also it is not that exclusive. We are we open our door. That's why we are Nook, protected area. How can I say? It's a hidden area, but it's still connected to the bigger space. It's not a separate room.
yeah. So your love of community is to find people that align with your values, and that's why it has been the motivation of building Seoul Nooks, right? So yeah, I think like the next question that I'm really curious about is you also mentioned several almost several decisions that you have a turning point to decide whether to close down or to continue, right? And then you also mentioned earlier that like from different turning point, it made Soul Nooks evolve from different motivation that you tap into from the turning point. So if you can share around perhaps the biggest turning point that you were having that thought around closing down, like what's going on? What's the challenge in running Sonos? And how do you go through that phase and evolve into a different motivation?
The moment I fell in love with community, especially like co-working, co-living, this type of community was when I see people change their perspective, opinions about somebody. We humans always create our first impression based on very limited amount of information about somebody. But over the time, if the time is given, can eventually actually realize understand better of the context of the person, and we get to respect and admire and become each other's fan. And that's what I witnessed when I was working for co-working, which kind of fascinated
Mm,
me about it. Because the word that I aspire to be and create is uh word of love. It's very different from moments like occasions like networking event, where you have to kind of impress the other person in a very short amount of time. And there's a lot of tensions about like, oh, like I feel a lot of tension there. But co-working communities, You show your process, you show your passion and genuinity, authenticity, just by naturally doing what you love and being how you like how you are. And then that's a beauty that I loved. And then also in a community that really aligns that is aligned with you. The little thing, the people get to find help you to actually recognize about you. Like I think a lot of us in modern days we tend to be very critical about ourselves, including myself as well. With the people who are right people, they actually would um they admire things that I kind of took for granted about myself. And, but they will recognize it and then admire. And then I also like kind of, huh, yeah, actually, maybe it is special. Those kind of environment, I think is very healthy. And yeah, everybody has gift and light, the different shapes of the light that we bring into this world, and then just recognizing about it, the those towards each other, I think is very important.
So is the story that I find that is fascinating around how building community can move people perception and experience. So I want to pause and recognize this. Yeah. Are there anything else
Yeah,
you want
thank
to
you.
add on around this point?
No, thanks for closing and
Yeah.
taking a moment to recognize it. And those kind of moments and interaction happen a lot here. Just expanding um, having deeper understanding, prejudice breaking down, and um, feeling sense of belonging and feeling welcomed for being able to relate with people they previously thought that they were very different or not relevant. And
Yeah.
yeah, those kind of things.
Yeah, like inclusivity, seeing people in a different lens, and also like another thing that you share around reflection of inner beauty that perhaps you didn't see in yourself, but people can like with the right people, with the right community that can reflect that
Yes,
back and support you
yes,
in perceiving yourself as well. So that was amazing. Yeah. So shall we move on to the challenge?
yes,
Yeah,
challenge, yes.
I would love to hear about that. Like, how do you move through that? Like, what's going on in that moment?
Right. I the well, there were many challenges when I was thinking about closing down. Was maybe like well, every year I thought about closing down. I think
Wow.
I think first year was maybe financial challenge, and then also like we opened before COVID, right before COVID, so
Wow.
COVID was tough, and not only financially but also the relationship wise. People got more tense, like trying to be keep our space safe at the same time. Also,
Mm,
it collided with some other types of needs and the how you perceive the risk also very different. I become a little bit more conservative as a person who felt more responsible about keeping our community safe. Um, yeah, those kind of thing. And then, but biggest challenge maybe that I almost thought about closing down was maybe uh the I think third year, at the end of second year or third year, I had a lot of uh, emotions and needs, but it was really unclear to understand my needs as well. And then I had accumulating frustration as well, and then anxiety too. And I wanted to be recognized. I wanted to kind of prove myself. And I compared myself with other people. Around me 30, people start to kind of stand out, and then some people have family, have baby, or some people advance in a big corporate. And I, meanwhile, I choose a path that is not very conventional. I always worked in the startups, small teams, and also didn't marry, although it was not my will. And then, so then I tried to be authentic to myself, but then at some point I felt like, oh, I feel like a loser, but it felt very unfair and kind of like and somehow I felt clock is ticking, and then maybe later I wouldn't have a chance again if I want to prove. I think it should be now. I have to maybe try to join a bigger team or a different culture, because I also felt like, oh, I'm not my. So actually, my co-living was for the first 3 years. It was just my side project. I had a full-time job,
Mm,
or yeah, and I never really thought about actually taking it as a full-time job. And so, but then I didn't really see my co-living as, although I love community, I was very pessimistic pessimistic about um, mm, the performance, or the community is such a project that you pour your passion into. Back then, felt community kind of feels like a sand castle. Maybe we might be having a great time. People are really appreciative of the community they're in, relationships, and then understanding and growth. That uh, people's perception could change and feeling can change. Uh, Now is great, but then when I don't know, in the future, I had a fear that people might also like looking back, like it was nothing, or so like, oh, what is the success of community? And it's so
mm,
subjective. It lies with people's kind of how perceive it. There's no certificate or something, or it's very different from building architecture. You know,
yeah.
like you once build it, and then you just can over the years, like after you are no longer architect, you can still bring people and then look at the my masterpiece, you know. Uh, but as community is totally opposite to it. So I felt like, what is all this for? And then
Mm,
can isn't it isn't it? Am I doing stupid thing again? You know, maybe I should be realistic, considering my age and then my prospect, and then that yeah, those kind of thing, and then um so I was thinking about like, oh, maybe I should go to um, Europe, either to study more and find a job, or um, where I thought I could shine better, and then or yeah, just like join a bigger company, and where I don't think I could balance out with running operating community that my community. So I was like, and then but then it was really hard to get to conclusion because there were so many layers of thoughts and feelings. So I really couldn't hear my voice. Like, what do I actually want to do? And
mm,
there's so many thoughts, uh, and a lot of thoughts are coming from outside. I realized voices from my parents, voices from society, and voices that I hear from maybe social media or like media, traditional media and stuff like that. I was really hard to distinguish what is my voice, and then what voice can I trust and follow. And so I joined some of the workshop that kind of appeared to me, recommended by friends, and then thought it was maybe good chance, and then it was by one of Japanese alternative community, and you know, for 1 week you live without phone, internet, wallet, but like whole day you just you're you have questions, several questions, and time to reflect, and then share with friends, share with the participants, other participants, and then yeah, just and food is just provided. You don't think about option either. You just like question, decoding, dismantling ideas, and
mhm.
trying to at the end you get to connect with the core yeah, the heart,
Yeah.
the yeah, so that's what I did, and then which really helped me to better understand myself, and then be more liberated from the pressures and all the voices, and then got to see my project different angle, and then got to also see my friends in the co-living as well, and
Yeah, can
got
you
to be
share more
more, yeah.
around like what's the realization from that process that shift your perspective? You share around this process has helped you to connect and listen to yourself. So what are the things that you come to realize in that process?
Right. The uh, the questions they ask is like uh the they ask you about like what is you, what is I, what is you, what is the society, what is the
Mm-hmm.
punishment, what is the yeah, like kind of decoding ideas about like privacy, individual, and the society, and us, and all of
Mm-hmm.
that, and like how arbitrarily the idea of like mine and theirs, and then how we are so interconnected, and which is kind of coming back to where I started. My like find I my world used to be more interconnected, but over the time it got more individualized, and then
Yeah.
yeah, I keep hearing about how stupid when I'm like giving, and then like there's a lot of warning, continue to hear about warnings that you don't trust anybody, and
Mm.
don't be giving too much, and then take care of keep your stuff, and then think of your success or whatever. And so I think I got really tensed by it, and then like just kind of realizing that my original values are not wrong,
Mm.
and how the ideas, thoughts, narratives that I was feeling like pressured was very modern. And maybe there are truths in some of them, but also doesn't like just thinking about how the recently how those ideas came into me and I incorporated into my being, and then also how that ideas kind of how recently they started, and then that just kind of it was refreshing that like I don't have to like believe in them. Like it's kind of it feels why did I actually kind of like why was I trying to follow them as if they are the truth? Um and then when we ask, well, how can I say, in the end everybody's striving to feel loved and to love, and then maybe it's just simplest kind of truth is that it's about love. We recognizing how interconnected we are, and like too much individualism is not really helping us, and
I would
that
love to connect
also
with
my
you.
word, if
And
there is
it
a
would also mean
reality,
a lot to
yeah,
me
this
if
is
you could
core
share it
idea
with a
actually.
friend or
So
leave a
we see
review on
things,
the episode.
we,
A
we
little bit
trust our
about me.
eyes so
I'm a
much
trauma
that I
informed life
often think
coach
that
with
I
16
saw
years
everything,
of
I understood
experience in the
everything, and
corporate
that we
world and
share
8
the
years
same
as a
picture
coach.
together
I have been helping business
what
owners
appears
and
in front of
executives
me
tap into
is
real
like
confidence
interpretation
and make
of
clearer
the
decisions.
reality that
And if you are
is
in the season of change
somewhere
and
there,
want a
but
personal light touch,
I
feel
interpret
free to
with
reach out
my
about my
previous
one-on-one coaching
experiences, some
program. I'm
traumas, my
always
personal
happy to
trauma,
connect with
trauma
you.
of the
And
ancestors,
come back
or
for a
all
new
these are
episode
kind of
next week.
inducing the
And until
narratives that I
then, keep being
grew with.
kind to
And
yourself.
so it's very how actually different it could be. And then I've been uh, uh, I wanted to be, when I was thinking of closing down the community, I felt bitter. I felt
Mm,
I was being taken use of, advantage of.
right.
But then I realized that actually, I mean, people have different reality, and that what we see is very different. And then actually, I just realizing that I also didn't put into a lot, like into understanding their reality. Those kind of opened the gate, and then I after I said, and then I decided to go with the flow, whatever that kind of comes up here
Mm,
on my path, and also just regaining the love towards the community, towards the people was the first turning point. Yeah, after the course, I got back to a community, and then they prepared a surprise, and then the paper with like about my strengths, and then like their beautiful notes and drawings, because I suffered from self doubt a lot, and so
Mhm.
they did some community project to encourage me and then show love towards me. And then I, which kind of confirmed, I think, my learning and, and then felt more comfortable to go with the flow. And then, yeah, actually, the community had been receiving requests that people wanted to join the community, but we didn't have availability because we started very small. We only had one house. We had to decline many requests for more than a year. And then after the workshop, after those experience, then I said, okay, I'll take it as my full-time job. It's going to be, I'll get full on it. Let's go with the flow.
Wow, that's a profound realization. So, in your journey, your turning point is more around the frustration in yourself, and you are able to be aware of what's coming up and decide to work on it before making big decision, which led you to the workshop that transform your thinking, your view into the world. I think what you share is definitely resonate with me, and I'm sure it's gonna resonate with a lot of people. Like a lot of time when it's come to relationship in a community, everyone perceive the world differently, and oftentimes we we really want, like, we have that need that, oh, what we see is going to be the truth, but the truth is really subjective, right? Like what we see is
Yeah.
perhaps not what other people see, and it's really take courage and energy to go inside yourself to
Yes.
understand that wound and owning it and take responsibility around your own feeling and thoughts. And I think it's the process that when you first learn to identify the thoughts and be open mind around, be flexible in your thinking, then it's gonna loosen up and opening up opportunity and influence better decision, because right now you are deciding from a space where you are more open, you are open to hear from different people, or even open to hear from a different perspective in yourself, right? I think
Mhm.
that's a big one. And what you share around, we a lot of time, like, we grow up in a culture, in a society, and we get lost into which one that is our belief, which one that is formed by society or the external voice, and is a healthy separation in the process to learn about this sounds like my voice, this doesn't sound like my voice, right? And
Yeah.
in that process of both individualization, versus like separating from the culture that we grew up in to know ourselves in that process. What you share another part is how do we find that balance to maintain our own healthy self
Mhm.
in a
Mhm.
society without being too much around ourselves, but continue
Mm.
to be open and grow the community together. So that's
Mm.
really beautiful turning point. And
Mm.
we are about to end our time. So I have two last questions for
Yes.
you. Let's say if a listener is interested to join Sonok or be part of co-living with Sono. You share around right
Yes.
now you have screening process. Can you give an example of what are you screening for? What are you looking for in a new member?
Right. Yeah. Yeah, it'll be amazing to welcome anyone who's listening to our talk now into our community as well. We are looking for global citizens, and by a global citizen, I define like nothing serious, but like who's willing to extend their identity into like
Mm-hmm.
beyond the national identity they are born with. I mean,
Mm-hmm.
we are not born with national identity, but early on we are educated to have national identity. Like I really through Seoul Nooks, we want to build more meaningful relationship, connections, love beyond across the borders, and people who are willing to do that who want to open their heart for those connections are welcome. And the typical people who come into who choose our community, although in spite of this complicated application process, are those who appreciate deep connections, especially who want to understand local culture, society, who want to meet local friends and practice local languages, people who learn Korean, and who doesn't want to stay in the bubbles. Also, uh, we welcome people who are like nerdy, nerdies who have their own beautiful word, who are passionate to share those kind of words with other rest of the people. And I think it's really essential my preference. People who are really passionate about something, we want to learn from each other, and growth mindset who can ask questions about what can I learn from this situation? Some situation which can be uncomfortable at times. In co-living, it's not all about fantasy. It's not always nice. Sometimes, of course, you are you feel disturbed, or you feel annoyed, or you feel you don't like maybe you don't like somebody's kind of behavior, but uh like somebody who can ask, actually, what do I learn about myself in this situation, and then how do I approach this situation? How can I try differently? What kind of communication can I try differently? And then somebody's vulnerable enough to ask for help from the community. And yeah, and also who's giver, who loves giving, and who believe in the abundance that is co-created by all of us giving together. And those are the I think the people that we look for. And also, I'm not sure whether there are Thai people listening to the podcast. I We really value diversity as well. Even if people find our membership fee a little bit to burden, we are open. We're happy to adjust, and we have a program called Global Citizenship Residency Program. Although we don't get sponsored by government or something, but we do it. And so it really feel free to reach out to us. And the just condition is that either people contribute in other different form, alternative form, or help us to pursue our mission, bring people together across the borders. Or sometimes people, what each person is doing is also kind of aligned with what we want to do as well. We are also happy to just support that individual, the aspiration as well, by hosting them into our community, which maybe is more easier in our lower season, like summer or winter. But I really hope to connect more with the Thai global citizen, and I would
Yeah.
love to learn and grow together.
Yeah, Thai people also love going to Korea a lot. Like that
Yay,
includes
yay.
myself too. I love Korea. Although I haven't visited Korea for a while, but Korean is my favorite country. And
Amazing.
yeah, I'm sure there will be Thai audience that listening to this and perhaps interested in being joining your community. How can they reach out to you?
Right. So we have a website, Seoul Nooks org, and we have Instagram as well, where you can see more of what had been happening and the vibes and more vivid the picture. Also, if you have like our website, it has a lot of text, a lot of information actually. Most of the questions will be answered through both channels, I think. But if there's still something that you want to ask, then you can also email us as well. And we'll have 6-year anniversary event that I just shared, very special. So if you happen to come by in September, feel free to join. Even if you don't stay long enough for co-living, but just let us know, and then we'll definitely have some celebration. In a season like autumn season, we host pizza gathering where anybody is welcome to join, and it's great gathering, especially also for I'm reaching out to introvert like me. I look like extrovert, but actually I'm introvert. the gatherings that I do is very also intentional. So just bringing people all together, safe place, and then yeah. So please come. Also, we are planning to have some launching soon, like community kind of builder gardener academy where people can stay with us and then learn how to build community and build community of their own. And because I live in the community and then I want people to succeed in growing their community. And yeah, so that's also one thing. If this interests you. And public living in countryside, we're gonna do some experiments, 2 weeks maybe, 2 weeks long, in countryside of Korea. So that also I will share the link later. And also, I'm actually collaborating with Japanese the organizations. I'm going to Shimoda, this beautiful small town, very cozy, welcoming vibe in November, and I'm going to be co-hosting the first 10 days where I'm going to share more culture, cross-cultural understanding, and workshops and nonviolent communication workshops that I facilitate in my co-living as well. So I hope you could join us.
Yeah, thank you. So for the listener who listen to this episode, go follow Seoul Nooks, Seoul, right? And then
Yes,
Nooks. And you can check out the detail in the website soulnooks.org. And yeah, anniversary coming up in September.
Korean.
Several workshops are lining up and collaboration with Japan. That is something that Thai people would be looking forward to. We love both Japan
Yeah.
and Korea. So yeah, that's exciting. And thank you so much, Yeji, for joining the call, sharing your journey. It's such a pleasure from my end to hear about what you have been creating, to also be seeing your passion in growing community. It's so beautiful to have you here.
Thank you so much, Juan, for having me again and your beautiful presence and then also yeah, great opportunity to share my passion with your people and I am truly grateful.
Thank you. I hope you enjoy your time. Right now you are in
Yes.
Budapest, right? So enjoy the time
Yes.
in Europe, Yeti. Thank you.
Kakumaka. Bye bye.